Begin video in 3, 2, 1. The purpose of this video is to discuss all things Pizzeria Simulator and the various aspects of the game. If you are watching this video, not only have you found my video enticing to watch, as I had hoped you would, but also that you have found my channel as planned through the title and thumbnail. Watch this video, leave a like, then subscribe before leaving. Upon leaving, I hope you return. Begin video in 3, 2, 1. How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another discussions video. Now, as you can probably tell by the title and thumbnail, today's video is going to be all about Pizzeria Simulator. So essentially, it's just going to be like one ginormous my opinion / review of the game. So I'll cover stuff like gameplay, characters, sort of just stuff about the game, I guess. Really, it's just a review. So yeah, that's gonna be the whole point of the video. Sorry if I'm sounding a bit weird. I guess I'll do a little bit of a disclaimer right away. These videos are always more just me ranting rather than anything that's like scripted. So I'll probably just sort of trail off on stuff and end sentences weird. So if you guys are like, man, why is this guy like just kind of sound like he's rambling? It's because I am. So that's essentially the whole how I do these videos. So yeah, it's just gonna be me rambling about Pizza Sim, and I guess without wasting any more time and without rambling on in this introduction, let's just jump right into the review. So I want to start this review off with sort of going over the story, I guess, just like a brief recap of the story, and just, I mean, kind of my thoughts on it. There's not much to talk about, but I'll just do a quick brief recap and just kind of give my opinion on it. So here is the definitive recap of the story. We play as Michael Afton, who, after being scooped in during Sister Location and burning down FAZBEAR'S frights, he's looking for a job. He's down on his luck. He's not really got much going for him. But lo and behold, he sees a job offer to work at the new and improved FREDDY FAZBEAR'S pizza place. What a perfect opportunity for this guy. So he signs up, he joins in, he's like, hey, I'll be in charge. I'll be like the manager or whatever. And I'll be working here. I can get some money, do my job, do my thing, whatever, and live my life. Meanwhile, the person who actually set up this building and this restaurant is Henry Emily, who is actually using this place as a big Scooby-Doo trap to capture all the rest of the animatronics and put an end to all of the evil deeds of Fazbear Entertainment and mostly just William Afton, but sort of both of them. And he wants to just put an end to all of this misery that's been going on since the start of Fazbear Entertainment, I'm assuming. And so what he does is he's like, I gotta get these animatronics here. So he sends out a big email, and he just emails everybody and says, hey, come on down to the pizza place. You guys will love it, and I really hope to see you guys there. And so all the animatronics are like, all right, cool, we'll go here. So they go there, and they get interviewed. Sometimes they jump scare you, sometimes they don't. And eventually they're all there, and Henry goes, all right, this is perfect. I'm going to give the best speech in video game history and burn this place to the ground and put an end to everything. And Michael, I know you want to stay here, so there was an exit, but you don't want to use it. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. You definitely don't want to leave, but you don't really have a choice. And so he burns the place down. Everybody supposedly dies, and the end. That's the whole story. 100% how it happened. No holes in that story. It's perfect, and that's exactly what happened. So I guess to kind of just say what I think about it, I mean, there's not really much to say about the story aside from like it's a really fitting story for like the final game in the FNAF series, which obviously is what it was supposed to be until everybody decided to keep making more games. So yeah, I think as a final FNAF game story, it really works. It ties everything up for the most part. All the old animatronics that are still active are finally rounded up and destroyed. William Afton gets absolutely roasted both physically and like verbally, so that's really great. just utterly destroyed, and everybody else gets put to peace and live happily ever after in, I'm assuming, the afterlife. If there's ghosts, maybe there's not. I don't know. I'm not going to get into this right now, but everybody's set free, supposedly, and that is kind of the end. And I think it's a really fitting story if it was actually the conclusion, which we know it's not. So it just sort of feels ultimately useless. But I'm not really thinking about that right now. But I do enjoy the story. I think it's a good one, and that's really all I have to say about it. Not much to go on there. So now to get into the actual review of the game itself, I want to start off with talking about gameplay, and I'll talk about the 3 different sections of gameplay. So Tycoon, Salvage, and Office Night, whatever. And then I'll probably talk about the characters, then talk about a couple other different things, and then end it off with my general thoughts on the game and just sort of a general summary of what I think about it. And then I'm going to do something fun. I'm going to actually end the video off with a section talking about what I would change in the game if I could change something. Like, if I could go back in time and sit down with Scott Cawthon and be like, look, I think you got some great points here, but here's one thing that I would change. So I'm going to kind of end the video off with that, because I think it'd be something fun to do for every review video. So whether I'm reviewing FNAF 1 or like FNAF 4 or like Help Wanted, stuff like that. Just sort of to have like a, if I could change something, this is what I would change. So that's what we're going to end off with, but enough rambling about that. Let's actually do some reviewing. So like I said, we're going to start with gameplay, since that's like the biggest thing with the game. That's the whole point of playing it. So the Tycoon section, I absolutely love the Tycoon section. It's a great addition to the game, and it really makes me wish that instead of getting something like 5 laps at Freddy's, we could have gotten like an actual FAZBEAR Tycoon game, because I think it would be so fun to like design your own pizzeria and do all this kind of stuff. So I really do enjoy the Tycoon section. Buying animatronics, buying like fun little games to have in your restaurant, upgrading it, all that kind of stuff. And of course, how can we forget the box of party balls that Helpy can never seem to land in and always lands on the ground and snaps his neck. I don't know why. I find it funny every time, but just I love the Tycoon section. I mean, there's not a whole lot of like actual gameplay to it, but all in all, it's a great addition to the game and kind of helps break up the actual nights so that it's not constant. All right, I got super nervous, super tense. I finally made it through a night, and then you're just thrown right into the next night. It gives you some time to be like, all right, I made it through the night, and now I can kind of sit back, relax, play some fun mini games, and just sort of have a break for a second. And I think it's a really good addition to the game. That's about it for the Tycoon section. Salvage section, also going to be singing high praises for it, because it's a great section. It's terrifying. It's actually like really scary. Not like shivering in my boots scary, but like it is still pretty scary. Even playing it again, like it does make me scared every time. And for the most part, I get through it without any issues. Circus Baby, for some reason, likes to jump scare me, despite the fact that she doesn't really move. So I don't know what her issue is. She just doesn't like me, but I mean, that's kind of given, because she just doesn't like me in any game. So not a surprise there, but yeah, all in all, I enjoy the game. I enjoy the gameplay of the salvage section. I like pulling up the paper because it blocks the screen, and then they can move, and sometimes they move obviously, and you're like, oh, you're not going to be able to fool me, and then you shock them. And then sometimes they move so subtly that you don't notice, and then they'll decide to just jump scare you anyway. But all in all, it's a great section, and probably has some of the best looking lighting for animatronics, like since some of the early games, because you get that just singular top-down light over top the animatronics, and it makes all of them actually look really scary. Even Scrap Trap looks really cool in that lighting. Like, you can't really deny it. He looks good in that lighting. So a great section, visually great, gameplay pretty great. Like, there's not a whole lot to do aside from pulling up a piece of paper and clicking a check mark, but still a great section, and I love it. Now to move on to the office section. Yay, the best section in the whole game. All right, I'm dropping the sarcasm. That really wasn't there, but the office section, I don't like it. It really drags the game down. There's almost no substance to it. You kind of just have to sit there and watch/wait for these tasks to just load and load and load, and then they're done sometimes, or sometimes they just take forever, and some of them are super loud and some of them aren't, but it's all just pretty boring because they're all the same. You just click a button and you wait for it to be done. Nothing cool or unique about it. The rest of the stuff that you can do, so you have the motion detector, which like almost never works. I don't like it. It never works for me at all. I even have an example of the thing utterly breaking in front of my eyes. So in my original playthrough, I think it was on like the final night, and I hadn't taken Lefty. I booted Lefty to the curb, so I wasn't going to get the cool ending, but it didn't matter to me. I didn't want to deal with 4 animatronics. I'm like, 3 is plenty enough for me. I'm not going any past that. So I booted Lefty, and I only had to deal with Circus Baby, Scrap Trap, and Molten Freddy. So I'm on the final night. The first thing I do, I click on the motion detector, and what happens? 5 different pings pop up. How is there 5? Why are you showing me 5 different locations for animatronics? What? There's not even 5 of them here. So it just broke in front of my eyes. And there was other occasions of it like not working at all. Like I'll click it and nothing happens, and then I'll use the audio lure somewhere, and I go back and I click the motion detector again, and then nothing happens. So it really just sucks, and it almost never worked for me. And I'm not a fan of having that be the only way to tell where the animatronics are either. But I think maybe if it worked a bit more, I'd enjoy it. But it didn't for me, so another bad part of the night. The only thing I really liked about the night is the audio lure, because for the most part that actually worked. I can be like, all right, there's an animatronic outside my vent, I'll lure it out with the audio lure, and for the most part it actually worked and I could survive. So at least that worked. I think that's a good addition too. It's sort of playing off the FNAF 3 style of the audio lure that you use for Springtrap, but using it for every animatronic and on like a bigger scale. So I do like that as well, sort of tying in with other games. But again, there's really not much there aside from just clicking a button somewhere on a map. Now the actual office itself is extremely bland, and there's almost nothing in it. The best part is Helpy, because I don't know, it's Helpy, and he's just sitting there. He's got a big smile on his face. So as long as he's happy, I'm happy, but there's really not much going on. It's pretty bland and gray. You're just staring at a monitor, which is like, that's already what I'm doing. I'm playing this game and staring at a monitor, so I don't need to stare at another monitor. And then your vents are just these endless voids that don't stare back because you can't see anything in them. There's no, there's supposedly animatronics in these vents, but you don't see them. It's just empty until they decide to jump scare you. So it just feels like an ultimate waste of these vents because there's nothing to it aside from just staring at absolutely nothing and wishing to just be able to have them go away and that they're just not there anymore. So it is just a huge wasted potential. I think that's probably the best way to describe the office section, is just wasted potential. It could have been so much better, but it just fell flat in almost every area, because the only time you see the animatronics are when they jump scare you, and aside from that there's almost nothing to look at. So it's just boring as all get out. However, to give it some credit and to talk about another point in the game that I really do enjoy, the voice lines that pop up throughout the night really kind of actually keep me engaged when I'm playing, because something about having like William Afton show up in your vent and he's going on about like some poetry and he's like rhyming, he's sounding like Dr. Seuss out there, and it's like, all right, well, I can talk back to him and be like, dude, what are you talking about? Which it's something I like to do. I feel like sometimes other people do too, but for me, some of the biggest things that I like with these games, especially when they have voice lines, is that I can talk to the animatronics. It makes the nights a bit more fun, and ultimately is a bit more engaging than just talking to myself. So I think it's fun when I can talk back to them, and it makes me laugh throughout some of the nights. So Again, that's probably the best part of the office section, are when the animatronics are talking, because it gives me something to do. And the kind of going off of that, the voice lines and the voice acting is really great. Everybody did a really good job. I enjoy all of the voice lines, despite the fact that there's, I mean, not all that many, but I guess there's a good few. You have Molten Freddy, Lefty doesn't really talk. Circus Baby, she's fine. Scrap Trap, he's okay. And then obviously Henry has the best speech ever, so he's great. But they all did a really good job, and I really do enjoy all of them. So a big positive to the game there. But other than the voice lines, the office section is just a drag, and there's nothing to it at all. So I don't enjoy it at all. It really brings the game down for me. But that's really about it for gameplay. I mean, we kind of covered everything. So I think we'll move on to characters. And I want to talk about mostly just their designs, since there's not really much else to talk about for them. Like, we don't really know that much about them. So I'll just talk about their designs. And obviously just the main 4 animatronics that we see in the night. And yeah, I guess I will start with, I don't know, I'll start with Lefty. We'll start with Lefty. Yeah, so Lefty's design is pretty good. I generally enjoy it. I think it's a good color scheme because it sort of plays off the puppet's color scheme, but obviously puts it on a much larger animatronic frame. And I think it actually works really well. It makes Lefty stand out amongst the other bear animatronics, who are mostly just tan. So it makes Lefty very distinct. And obviously only having one eye open and the other one closed also makes Lefty somewhat distinct. But I think the only thing I wish we could have seen more of is actually being able to see the puppet inside of their design. Because I think that was probably a cool thing back in like FNAF 3 when Springtrap would jump scare you, or like you would get a slight glance at some of Springtrap's designs and you get those like secret images and whatever, where you can see that there's actually like somebody inside of the suit. And it's sort of like mind blown, like, holy crap. There's a body inside this suit? That's crazy. But it's mostly hidden. I wish they would have done something like that for Lefty, where it's like you see Lefty jump scare you, and for the most part it looks like just Lefty's face, and then you can kind of see like the bottom part of the puppet in like the jaw or something like that, to kind of give you like a, hang on a second, is the puppet inside of Lefty? Like, what? I think that would have been a cooler way to do Lefty's design, and actually have some sort of continuity, since supposedly the puppet's supposed to be in there, but you never really see them in there. So I think that's probably the only downside, but other than that, a really great design and really distinctive. I think we'll do Molten Freddy next. We'll kind of go in terms of like the best looking designs. So Molten Freddy is next. I generally enjoy Molten Freddy's design. A lot of people don't. A lot of people just don't like that he looks like a big spaghetti monster. And to be fair, he is a massive downgrade from Ennard. You go from having this cool, like wiry, but still looking like an animatronic character in Ennard, and he's really scary, he's really cool, to just, you downgrade him to just Funtime Freddy with a new mask and a pile of wires. So he is a massive downgrade from Ennard, but on his own, I really do like his design. I think it looks really good. I think the only thing I would really change is have some of the wires maybe be different sizes or different textures, so that they look like different wires rather than everything being like the exact same. But that's sort of like a more small nitpick than anything. But I do generally enjoy his design. It looks good, and it is very distinctive, again, amongst other bear animatronics, but also amongst the other animatronics that we see in Pizza Sim. He really stands out. And obviously, I love that mask. It's a great looking mask. I'm surprised we haven't really seen a color scheme like that. I mean, it's mostly just a Funtime Freddy design, but instead of that like pink and purpley colors, it's like, I think more of like a dark tannish, like orangey kind of color, and it looks really good. I think it's a great looking design, and the fact that it's all like broken up and kind of beat up looks really good, and I do like his design. And obviously, like, you can't go wrong with the Funtime Freddy voice. It's a great voice too, so just all that combined is a really good character. I like it. But it does feel like a major letdown when compared to Ennard, who really got the short end of the stick on things. So again, kind of disappointing there, but all in all, his design is pretty good. Circus Baby, or I guess Scrap Baby, I think. But I don't call her that. I just call her Circus Baby because I don't feel like it. I don't feel like saying anything else. But Circus Baby's design is generally good. I think it's actually like a pretty decent design. The only things I don't like are the big crab claw and the roller skates. They don't do anything in the game, so I don't know why she has them. Like, she uses the big crab claw in Help Wanted 2, but we don't ever really see her use it in Pizza Sim. So I'm not sure why she has it. Like, what's the point of having this design if you never see it? Like, I don't know. I just don't know why she has it. And when you look at like the full character renders, it just makes her look super unbalanced. Like, one arm is overly sized compared to the other, and it just makes her character design way too unbalanced. But I think aside from that and the weird roller skates, which I don't know why she has roller skates, but that's just more of a small issue. But yeah, other than those two things, I think her design is really good. The color scheme I think is a lot better than just the base Circus Baby design. It makes her far more distinctive and actually makes her different than just Circus Baby, which obviously was the goal. And I think it came across really good. The withering is a bit Minecraft-y. It's a lot like kind of blocky and not really looking like actual withering. But I almost feel like it's kind of nostalgic at this point. It's more like the classic Scott style rather than like, oh, it's not overly realistic, so it looks bad. Like, to me, it gives off more of that, the good old days of Scott Cawthon games. So I do generally like it, but I can see why it's like also bad because it just looks like Minecraft. So, but all in all, her design is great. The withering is great, and I generally like the design. I think it actually, I'm torn whether or not I like her design more than just the base Circus Baby design. I was never a huge fan of Circus Baby's base design. I think it's okay, but it almost seemed way too bulky. So I kind of like Scrap Baby's design almost a little bit more, but nothing confirmed. Like, I can't say which one I prefer more than the other. They're just a bit too different to kind of confirm that. But anyway, her design pretty decent. I like it. And last but not least, probably a controversial point, but my favorite design from Pizza Sim has to be Scrap Trap. I really love his design. I think it's actually good design, and I know I'm kind of laughing, but I am being serious. I do really like his design. It's a great design, but there's like just a couple small issues that really sort of bring the whole design crumbling down. And it really just has to do with the eyes, the location of the ears, and how big his head is proportionally to the rest of his body. Those three things just absolutely destroy his design. If those three things were slightly different, his design would be like probably one of my favorite in all of FNAF. But unfortunately, he doesn't really get that spot because his head looks utterly terrible. The eyes are bad. When you don't see them and they're obscured by shadow, it looks really good. When you do see them, he looks like he's got googly eyes and he looks like a big goofball. His head is way too big proportionally to his body, so it just makes him look like he's a big bobblehead. Just thinking bobblehead William over here. Oh, I should have done bobblehead Bill. That would have been so much better. Oh, whatever. I missed it, but so yeah, we got bobblehead Bill, and it just looks really bad. And then the ears are way too far back and they're like really tiny, and so it just makes him look like he's got a super big forehead, like he's thinking Jimmy Neutron, which I never makes that joke, so I kind of had to. But it's just those three things really destroy his design. And I think there's a couple other things that are like poor design choices, but don't utterly destroy his design like his head generally does. And just for fun, I'm gonna throw up a picture of what I like, sort of like my redesign of Scrap Trap, which I know is kind of out of nowhere, but to kind of explain why I would do that, I had made the first discussion video ever I had made about Scrap Trap's design. and I said why it's a good design, but it's flawed. And at the end, I showed off a relatively crude, photoshopped redesign of what I think a more improved version of Scraptrap would look like. And so I thought I'd kind of just remaster that design and show you guys. So it's probably just going to be his head, but I just think this is what Scraptrap would look like if he was actually cool. But anyway, his design is probably my favorite from the game. I don't know, I really like it. It's a massive downgrade from Springtrap, but they're almost so different that you can't compare them. But yeah, I really like his design. It's a fun design. I like it. I think it looks good for the most part. But yeah, that about sums it up for the characters. So just a couple other small points before we kind of end off the review. I know there really wasn't much to it, but again, there's really not much to this game. So I think a couple points on the cover. We already covered voice acting, but again, I really enjoyed it. Everybody did a great job. The music, the game music, really good. It's playing in the background in this video, and I use it for a lot of my videos because it's that more like energetic, kind of more cheerful, which tends to fit better for my videos. And ultimately, I really enjoy the music. It's really, really good music. It is probably some of the most iconic for me in all of FNAF. I mean, you can't really get past like Freddy's music box, but other than that, like there's really not much soundtrack to any of the other games. Sister Location has some pretty memorable scores, but I think like Pizza Sim, you hear it and you immediately go, oh yeah, that's from Pizzeria Simulator. Whereas other sounds, like other musics and stuff, you might be like, is that one from Sister Location, or is that one from something like Security Breach or like Help Wanted? Like, it's kind of hard to place them sometimes. Whereas like you hear the more energetic, like do whatever. I'm not gonna sing, but the more energetic music, and you go, that's Pizzeria Simulator music right there. So really enjoy that. And I guess maybe the visuals are pretty decent too. They have that old-timey Scott FNAF feel, and really do look good, except for The Office. But I think like even then, The Office visually wise looks good, but like appeal wise and aesthetically wise looks really bad. But for the most part, the graphics are really good in the game. I really enjoy them. But that's really about it for this review. So I guess a quick summary. All in all, I really enjoy this game. I think it offered a lot to the FNAF series and gave a lot of cool character designs, Scraptrap included, and a lot of good things were added to FNAF and moved the story along quite a bit. Was supposed to kind of end the story, but whatever. And I think it's a really great game, and if you guys haven't played it, I highly recommend you guys check it out because it is a super fun game to play. However, the Office section is really what drags it down for me, and I think should be something that, like, I don't know, I just wish it was so much more different, because it really makes me have to give this game like a lower I guess score in terms of what I think about it. It is just lower down on my list of favorite FNAF games because it just gets so boring after a while. So anyway, I'm not gonna sit here and ramble on about that for too much longer, because now I want to get into some of the changes that I wish I could have made if I had gone back in time and told Scott he should do things a little bit differently. But yeah, so what would I change for the game? So I'm gonna lay some ground rules. One, I'm gonna have 3 changes I can make. One to the Tycoon section, one to the Salvage section, and one to the Office section. So what changes can I make to the game that I think would help improve them? So some ground rules. One, I'm going to be able to do 3 changes, 1 per section. So 1 for the Tycoon section, 1 for the Salvage section, and 1 for the Office section. And the second rule is that these can't be any big changes. So I can't be like, all right, well, for the Office section, I think should actually take place in a traditional office, and there should be doors, and there should be cameras, and there should be all this. Like, I can't change it that much. It just has to be one smaller change that would help improve the night as a whole. So to kind of just get through this not quick, but like, I'm not going to sit here and ramble on it for all day. What I would change in the Tycoon section is just a bit more customization, like allow you to kind of customize adding hallways and other rooms and where you can place stuff to kind of give it a bit more like distinctive feel and be like, I can actually design my own pizzeria. I get that the game isn't really the tycoon game, but it's the only one that has a tycoon section in it. So I feel like maybe there should have been some more stuff with it. A little bit more customization is all I'm really saying. But all in all, again, I really enjoy the section as is, and just think that adding in a little bit more customization would make it a bit better. Now, I was really torn what to change for the salvage section because I pretty much just like it the way it is. So I don't actually know what I would change for it. I think I'm gonna do a little bit of a sneaky thing here. Since I don't have anything to change for the salvage section, I'm gonna take my change that I would use for this and apply it to the game as a whole by saying I wish that we could change Scrap Trap's design to something a little bit nicer so that he can actually be more menacing. So I wish we could change it to at least something like the design I made, where it's a bit more like, at least the head's a bit better, because I think that's really all that needs to be changed. So we're taking my salvage change and we're just saying, let's maybe change Scrap Trap instead. So that's sort of, I guess, that change, make him look a bit better because he'd look a lot nicer in the game. And my change for the office section, also nothing too crazy, but I just think having the ability to see the animatronics in a night would be really nice. So my change would be to have the animatronics show up in the vent when you look down the vents. Like when you turn to go look down the vent, you could see Scrap Trap kind of like sitting there like he was crawling through the vent, and then you stopped him with the flashlight, and so he's sitting there staring at you, and then after some time the flashlight would cause him to go away or something like that. And same with like Molten Freddy, Scrap Baby, Lefty. Maybe have one of them be like you can't shine the flashlight on them, so if you hear them in the vent, then you don't shine the flashlight on them and you have to lure them with the audio lure or something. But being able to see the animatronics in the night is really what makes FNAF FNAF. So it really sucks that you can't see them until they kill you. And obviously, in a perfect world where you can just get through the FNAF games in one try, then you would never see the animatronics. So I feel like being able to at least see them in the night would really help improve the office section and give us something more visually distinct that kind of would make it actually a bit different than the other games, because we've never really been able to like look in a vent and see an animatronic in there, except for stuff like FNAF 2 or FNAF 3 where you see them in the vents, but on like the cameras and stuff. So being able to like turn and see an animatronic in the vent would really help improve the night gameplay. But yeah, that is actually going to be it for the video. I feel like there really wasn't much to this. It's going to be a longer one, but I really feel like there wasn't much to this review. Like, I don't know. There wasn't much to talk about because there really wasn't much to do with the game. But I hope you guys still enjoyed it anyway and kind of got a better understanding of what I think about the game and some of the different things that pop up in the game as a whole. So since we're ending off here, a couple things. One, as soon as this video is published, so by the time you guys are hearing this, there's a poll over on my community tab that is going to be able to have you guys go vote on what topic I'm going to be covering in my next video. So there's probably going to be a theory, a FNAF game review, probably something else, and then of course there's always an option for you guys to vote on leaving your own topic in the comments. So I'd highly recommend and appreciate if you guys went and checked out that poll and voted to see what you would want me to cover next. And that's gonna be about it. So we will end off here. We'll do Shameless Plugs. Go check them out. They are linked down below. Be sure to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. Leave a comment if you want to say anything, or if you have any other discussion topic ideas, because I'm always looking for new stuff to talk about. Be sure to subscribe to see more content like this. I thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed today's discussion video. And comment, I don't know, comment Scrap Trap if you made it this far in the video. And with that, I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.